This is the Nations Conspire channel. Welcome to today's show, Foggate, or as some people are calling it, Fogvid, as in another term for all of the fog that we're seeing going on around the earth right now. And if you haven't been paying attention to this, it's time you start paying attention to it, because more and more people are using the technology they have to film and show what exactly is going on inside of this fog that is appearing now in America as well. Florida, Georgia, Canada, the UK, continually sitting in a bowl of dust. And what we can start looking at here is not just the predictive programming we've seen over the years with movies like The Mist and The Fog. What our attention should start pointing towards is smart dust, which I will get into in a few minutes. But here are some of the footage that people have uploaded online. Here are some of the clips, a compilation of the strange fog, where people are giving you an up-close look at what exactly is in there. And of course, you're not hearing anything about this in the mainstream media, because why would you? So it's becoming clear that that is not fog. That is not normal. And no, for anybody out there that thinks it is snow or it is flurries occurring, it is not. Those are clips from Georgia and Florida. That is what looks like smart dust technology. And for anybody out there that's not familiar with smart dust, it's time you become familiar with smart dust. This isn't the first time that they've used smart dust, but this could be a very large smart dust experiment that is taking place right now. Now, some people out there think that it's a different type of bioweapon that's being used that is going to cause people to become sick, that they will blame on the bird flu. But it is starting to look more and more to me like there is smart dust technology that is embedded in this fog that is clearly man-made. So for anybody out there that doesn't know what smart dust is a creation of your government. It comes directly out of DARPA. It comes directly out of NASA. And smart dust sensors are what you're seeing, what it looks like is inside of this fog. Smart dust sensors can detect and measure many things, including light, temperature, vibration, but most importantly, you.
Smart dust, and the new technology may soon make it possible to keep track of anything, anywhere, including you.
Smart dust originated with DARPA back in the 90s. This powder-sized chip is something called the Mu chip from Hitachi. It's the smallest commercially available RFID system in the world. You can literally scatter this stuff like dust or embed it into a sheet of paper. It doesn't require a battery. Flecks of computing power settling on your skin, ingested, monitoring you inside and out.
The nanoparticles are designed to go under the radar of the immune system, and so they are undetected in the body.
We have computing everywhere, we have connectivity everywhere, we have infrastructure that can compute those with new capabilities like AI.
If you have enough data and you have enough computing power, you can understand people better than they understand themselves, and then you can manipulate them in ways which were previously impossible.
Transhumanism is a growing movement that aims to use technology to modify our bodies, sometimes in radical ways, to make them stronger, faster, and better.
So DARPA Smart Dust has been a key player in the development of smart dust technology. The concept was first explored in the early 1990s with DARPA and RAND suggesting the use of tiny computers for real-time data collection during, quote, battles. In 1997, Chris Pister, along with colleagues from the University of California, Berkeley, submitted a proposal titled Smart Dust Proposal to DARPA, which was funded in 1998. The project aimed to create a low-cost, battery-operated wireless sensor network that could be deployed in various environments to monitor and collect data. DARPA's SHIELD, which is Supply Chain Hardware Integrity for Electronics Defense program, is another example of how the agency has utilized smart dust technology. This program aims to use microscale chips to track and authenticate the supply chain of computer chips for defense applications, eliminating counterfeit integrated circuits for the electronic supply chain. So I know for a lot of people out there that don't pay attention to DARPA and don't pay attention to what your government actually does, that all sounds a little bit complicated to you. Well, let me put it to you this way. The advancements in technology are far beyond what you can possibly perceive, and their sick obsession with controlling humanity is far beyond anything you've ever heard in regards to dictators, in regards to the most wicked people we've ever been taught about in school. The people in power now are sicker, more sinister, and more unhinged than anyone we've ever been told about in human history. And the scariest part is that nobody knows this. Nobody is aware of this type of stuff. And you can even search smart dust if people out there are actually skeptical of smart dust and even their connection to NASA. You can even type in smart dust and NASA. Now, it's hard to find a lot of things in the Google search when it pertains to DARPA, because they bury a lot of stuff with DARPA because they don't want you to know what DARPA is really doing. The things that DARPA are doing, they put under company names. Like a lot of the stuff going on at Tesla are a direct creation from DARPA. But NASA has supported, according to AI Overview, and since the majority of sheeple get their information directly from Google, it's very important to point out when Google actually will show you the truth in plain sight, right? AI Overview. NASA has supported research and development of several technologies related to smart dust, which include electrostorm, as well as nanostructured material sensor processing, a technique that combines the properties of nanostructures with more durable materials to create compact sensors. These sensors can be used for fire detection, gas detection, environmental monitoring, and, quote, health monitoring. That's important to note. Health monitoring. Smart dust is a system of tiny micro electromechanical systems that can detect and send data about their surroundings to a larger system. They can be used to sense light, temperature, vibration, magnetism, or chemicals. Smart dust devices are similar to other sensors, but they are much smaller and more numerous. They are typically between 20 micrometers and a millimeter in size. So in other words, the data that they're talking about censoring with the sensors and tracking and monitoring is you. You're the data that they've only ever cared about. They never cared about what your preferences were for shopping online or what you're into and your preferences are so they could upsell you something in a banner on Google. It's always been about monitoring you and your behavior. We are lab rats in an experiment. This is from NASA directly. While futurists long dream of machines working with other machines, a giant step towards realization of this dream may be credited to a DARPA-sponsored program called Smart Dust, originated in the late 1990s. The title of the program creatively described its goal: to make machines with self-contained sensing, computing, transmitting, and powering capabilities so small and inexpensive that they could be released into the environment in massive numbers. Following their work, we define a sensor network as follows. A sensor network is a deployment of massive numbers of small, inexpensive, self-powered devices that can sense, commute, and communicate with other devices for the purpose of gathering local information to make global decisions about a physical environment. Majority of people will hear that. They have no idea what that means, right? Oh, a physical environment, making global decisions. If they flat out told you that they were going to monitor and track you the same way that somebody would see a science experiment taking place with rats, you would say, holy crap, we need to stop these people. If you realize that you're in the middle of an experiment, you would snap out of it, and quickly a revolution would occur. But when they talk like this, and they talk about self-powered devices, people go, how is something self-powered? They don't understand how energy actually works and how we're surrounded by energy, and they harvest energy. And they talk about inexpensive self-powered devices that can sense, commute, and communicate with other devices. They go, oh, you mean like my phone, communicates with my air condition unit? Like I could turn my air on from my phone? No. They're talking about you. You're what's being tracked and monitored. You're what's being studied. And these sensors are getting embedded in all of our bodies because they're dumping on us. Now, this doesn't mean that what we're seeing right now is the only time that they've ever used smart dust, even if this is a smart dust experiment on a mass scale, because we don't know what they're dumping on us anymore from the sky. We know that there's barium and aluminum in the sky getting dumped on us every day. We don't know for certain what's in the food that we're eating. I mean, we know we can't pronounce anything on the box of processed food. And if we're eating it, well, we might as well just cross our fingers and hope not to die by the time we finish the box of whatever the processed food is, because we're eating nothing but chemicals. But you might recall even stories in the past that I've talked about where people were finding black rain, right? They were finding this weird stuff on their cars. They're coming outside, they're finding an ooze on their car. They're going, what is all this stuff on my car? That was smart dust. They've been running smart dust experiments. Implantable neural dust as well enables precise wireless recording of nerve activity. Don't forget about all this stuff that we've allowed these psychopaths at these TED Talk meetings to talk about. Of course, they put background music behind it. They pretend like they're from some university, so they're smarter than you are, and you shouldn't question it, and how it's for the betterment of humanity. And they literally talk about neural dust to eavesdrop on our organs, right? Nobody says, well, my organs, I mean, are you eavesdropping on your own organs? I mean, they're your organs, so you wouldn't be eavesdropping. Oh, it's somebody else who wants to eavesdrop on your organs. Because remember how many times we've heard Yuval Harari and all these psychopaths at the World Economic Forum tell us what? Getting under the skin. It's all about getting under the skin, right? Even fake truther, alt-right government agent Russell Brand, who gets a free pass, of course, because all you have to do nowadays is side with the person that you like more, and people will turn a blind eye to who you really are, who you're networked with, and the fruits that you're producing. That's what Russell Brand's a perfect example of. Well, him and Yuval, many times over, all these guys talking about under your skin. Because remember, as Claus once said, it will change you. So we're seeing more and more of this fog. No explanation for the fog. The weather doesn't line up with it. So, of course, like I said the other day, they came out and told us what? Telling us that it's anticyclonic gloom, a weather phenomenon that occurs when high pressure traps moisture near the ground, resulting in a period of cloudy, dull weather with fog and mist. And now it's happening everywhere. They say it could happen in autumn and winter when winds are light and the sun isn't strong enough to lift the moisture. Well, fill in the blank. It's happening all over the place. And they're obviously not giving much attention to it. They're talking about delays at the airport, how the airlines can refund people's tickets, how this or that little nuisances in people's day-to-day lives are being interrupted by the fog. But what they're not talking about, of course, which they won't talk about, is smart dust. But they'll tell you all about this technology at TED Talk, when all these technology, weird science psychopaths come out and speak about the things they develop. They smile, they wear a button-down collar like the doofuses they are. They come out and they talk, ooh, well, we're developing smart dust. Oh, and the idiots in the crowd, what is that? Oh, we're going to monitor the insides of your body. We're going to eavesdrop on your organs. Like, tell me more, right? And you just go, wait a minute, why would you want anyone to eavesdrop on your organs? Why do you want some? Well, I'm a narcissist. I want to know what all my organs are doing at all times so I can run to the doctor because I want to live forever, because society is now a bunch of narcissistic, absolute imbeciles who want to live forever, who couldn't count to 10 without using Google to do it for them. So this is what we're living among, ladies and gentlemen. People who are creating this technology, they tell us they create it. They tell us at all these conventions of this technology. But then when we see experiments done like this, what do the people think? That these mad scientists are just creating this to make a buck? This is about control. And this is only about controlling one thing. It's not about controlling cats and dogs or the animals that are controlled at the zoo. It's about controlling human beings. That's what it's about. You and me. And ultimately, it's about behavioral control. Because when you're censored and you're tracked and you're monitored, it's about controlling what you say and where you go and living like a slave inside of their maze. It's looking more and more like this is smart dust. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank everyone for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families as always.